This is Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis.
Yeah, it's that time once again. It's something that we hope for and we want to see throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. It gets us excited. We start titillating at the thought of it. Yes, it's a happy Wednesday and it's a happy Game 7 day. Hashtag Game 7 is kind of trending upward on social media. Yeah, we'll be looking for your thoughts, comments, suggestions, questions, and comments and ideas as well. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. You can log in and comment through our Facebook page as well, where we are streaming live. It's a special pregame edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, getting you set for Game 7 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals. How many cliches have you heard today? Oh, it's do or die. It's backs against the wall. As always on our programs, we try to avoid the cliches, but we'll give you some important stuff. I've got pages of statistics. I really do have pages of statistics and numbers that you can get all caught up and tangled up in. I really don't think many of them are particularly relevant. Because it's Game 7 and it's one game and the winner will move on to face the Vegas Golden Knights and play for the Stanley Cup, and the other will have their season come to an end. I really don't think a lot of statistics will focus any attention on the most important parts of this evening's game between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals. Face-off is shortly after 8 p.m. That still sounds odd to say, by the way. Even though it's been a few days and we've had a chance to digest it all, you'll play the Vegas Golden Knights for the Stanley Cup. That still sounds really odd to me. But there was a great quote actually from Jonathan Marchessault of the Vegas Golden Knights when asked about what was going on and the prospect of playing for the Stanley Cup. Is like, why wouldn't we keep going? We haven't won anything yet except a hat. There it is. There's your perspective right there. So yes, it's an important game. It's Game 7. We're looking forward to it, and as opposed to thinking about what's ahead, who focuses on the task at hand, who's focused to win Game 7 and then move on and having your priorities in the right order, that's what's going to be the key. As with just about everything in the playoffs, as I mentioned, there are a ton of statistics that you can dive into. I mean, you can get armpit deep in statistics. And I've never been a big fan of math. Ask any of my teachers, they'll know. I've never been a big fan, but and I think you just get so caught up in all the stuff that has gone on previously in Game 7s throughout history, as we like to hear some networks use as frequently as possible. My goodness. You can get caught up in the statistics of Game 7s by both teams, the Lightning and the Caps. Some areas you might be able to glean some little tidbit, some little nugget that you can use and might give you a little insight as to what might happen. But most of it, I really think you could toss it all in the trash. The circumstances of each Game 7 are different. And that's why the statistics will only tell you so much. But the circumstances were so different of how each team arrived at a Game 7. The rosters aren't the same. When was the last time Tampa and Washington played in a Game 7? Go back more than a decade. So while you might be able to draw a couple of comparisons, don't get hung up on a moment that goes against history as we're watching the game this evening. Even if the Tampa Bay Lightning have something that goes statistically against them in the game, don't get too freaked out about it. Because there are things that matter to me significantly more than what happened in a Game 7 between two other teams in history that took place 20 years ago. What matters more for me in terms of who wins the deciding game, which team and which players are welcoming and embracing of the moment, the big spotlight, the larger stage, play in the big room, play in the giant arena. Who wants to be there Who wants to challenge their opponent? Who wants to show the determination to come out on top? That's what's more important to me. Oh, but yes, statistically speaking, this will happen. That's great. Which of these teams wants to be there? Tampa wants it more, they'll win. I'm not just talking about being an overly physical team and throwing hits. I mean, who wants to face and confront a rival on the ice and show through their actions that we're better? Who wants it more? We want this more. We're going to take this game over. We're going to do whatever it takes to score more goals than your squad, and we will do whatever is necessary to defeat you at the end of 60 minutes. Oh, I guess, or perhaps longer. That's what's most important to me. Not statistical numbers from 20 years ago or from the past 50 years in the history of Game 7s. I got them all. I looked at them all, and I'll run through a few of them a little bit later on. But this is what's most important to me. Who wants this more? Who's embracing of the moment? Who's excited by the moment? We'll hear so much talk about, oh, there's nervousness. Oh, they're bound to be nervous before they step out onto the ice. All that nervous energy. It's what you do with that energy that's inside you. It's not about being nervous. This is why these players have worked so hard throughout their careers to make it to this level, to play in Game 7s. How many times do you hear, not enough, of players that say, this is why I'm here. I want to play in these kind of games. And there's a lot of it out there. It's about confidence. It's about determination. It's about the faith and trust in yourself and your teammates to accept this task that's ahead of you and carry it out to completion. That's what I'm most interested in seeing. That's what I want. For me, I want to see the players that are anxious and willing to step out and go forth in that mission. That's what's important to me. Players that have the right mindset and use that energy generated from the 20,000 fans in the building and all the excitement that's created with the thousands outside and the prospect of victory, being excited by it, having it invigorate you, not being nervous or intimidated by it. Taking that and having the prospect of victory, helping them bring this across the finish line and accomplishing the task that they're looking for. Having a belief in what you've done to be successful for the last 8 months that you've been playing. And then going a step further, then elevating your actions to an even higher level than your opponent and coming out with a victory. This is what I'm looking for in Game 7 tonight between the Washington Capitals and the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is what I'm expecting. This is what I'm looking for. This is going to be the key to winning the game. Yeah, sure. I know that scoring the first goal is statistically a plus. It gives you better odds to come out from the game as a winner, according to all of those historical numbers that we'll have churned up over the remaining hours until we get to that face-off. Winners, however, know how to get the job done, even when there is adversity along the way. They learn from it. They overcome it. They complete their mission, even when initially things might work against them. That's going to be the key to tonight's game. This didn't happen for the Lightning in game number 6. They were not the more determined team. I expect them to be this evening. In game number 6, they did not outwork and out-hustle their opponent for too much of the game, and it cost them. Started out okay, but then it dwindled as the game went along. Each of the 3 goals scored against them can be attributed to the Caps showing a more exhaustive effort and a willingness to complete that journey to a victory. First goal came on the power play. How many times have we spoken about the power play of the Washington Capitals being lethal, and you can't take penalties? That was key number 1 to this series. Don't take penalties. Don't give the Washington Capitals a chance on the power play. It burned them with the first goal in game number 6. Goal number 2. Caps hustle to negate an icing call. Devontae Smith-Pelly nets the goal. As a result, they're up 2-0. Washington worked hard And that meant Tampa had to pull the goaltender to try to come back later on, and the empty netter seals it. We've reached Game 7. The winner will decide the series and who plays for the Cup final. Who wants it more? Who's willing to embrace all that Game 7 brings? All of the attention, all of the focus, all of the anxious excitement, not nervousness, but excitement. Who's willing to take that and channel it into their play? Trust in their teammates, trust in their system and structure. What have we said about the Lightning in all of the 3 previous games that they won in a row? Discipline, system, structure, making the smart plays. At this point in a 7-game playoff series, there are no secrets about what your opponent's strengths and weaknesses are. It's clear to everyone involved what will make your team a success or what will allow your opponent to burn you. All series long, I have talked about execution being the key for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have great goal scoring. They have a strong defense score and a goaltender that has made some incredible saves and has been a workhorse for the Tampa Bay Lightning all season long. Having all of these things come together, having all the players play in unison, the way a symphony does, with each section hitting all the notes perfectly to blend with others and create a musical masterpiece. That's what the Tampa Bay Lightning need now. That kind of cohesive performance that creates beautiful music if you're a symphony is what's needed now. They know it can be done. You know it can be done. I know it can be done. We've seen it thousands of times over the season, whether it's back in the regular season or through the first couple of rounds of the playoffs. This is a group that has played seamlessly together. We need one more command performance to get the Lightning over the last hurdle and into the Stanley Cup final. And it is my belief, after watching and listening and reading over the last couple of days, Lightning head coach John Cooper was planning for Game 7 even before Game 6 was over. It was clear to everyone watching, Caps were the better team, especially in the later stages of Game number 6. John Cooper was honest and forthright in his assessment of his team. They did not play to their potential, and that is why they lost. He pointed this out in post-game remarks and set about getting his team ready for Game 7 even before they had left the building. He was already working on Game 7. I don't know that he spoke to the team directly after the game when they were in the locker room together, but he sure did in his post-game presser. And you know every one of those players is paying attention. What had occurred in the 3 periods of hockey played that night was not good enough. It's not going to get you where you want to be, and he dared them to be better. He challenged them. Not in a defiant sort of way, but in a supportive, loving, and affectionate manner. And I have a belief in you manner. They have done it before. They have done it previously in the playoffs, and they will do it again. The John Cooper quotes post-game and through to the start of Game number 7 are very telling. From John Cooper post-game after Game number 6, we were no good. We didn't play with the near desperation they did. Pointed, succinct, and accurate. We didn't play with the near desperation they did. Was it a fairly even game? There's no question. But what were the hits? 39-19. Somebody was engaged and somebody wasn't. That's a choice. End quote. There's the challenge by Coach John Cooper. There's the challenge. Somebody was engaged, somebody wasn't. There's the challenge for your team. A little more from John Cooper. To get goals, you have to shoot. To get goals, you have to put pucks on net. We're getting way too many blocked and we're missing the net way too much. You've got to execute. There's that word again. There's that word again about execution. People say executing is passing the puck and putting the puck on the tape. Executing is putting pucks on net and putting them where you can get them back. We just haven't been near aggressive enough at that. You can get lots of zone time and we'll zip it around and cycle it behind the net and get zone time for 25 to 30 seconds, and then it's out. It accomplishes nothing. John Cooper speaking about the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that's what it is. Pick any of the statistics that you want, pick any of the numbers that you want. It's about execution. It's about embracing a Game 7 and understanding that the focus and attention to detail are needed on every play. And here's where John Cooper also, while being pointed in his remarks about how his team's performance was lacking and that they were not engaged and did not perform to the level that they're capable, it shifts into the supportive and belief role. More from Coach Cooper. I will tell you one thing. I've been so proud to coach this group over the last 5 years, and every time they get pushed against the wall, they push back. It's been awesome to coach them. Now we're being pushed again, and it's time for us to push back. No matter what happened previously in these playoffs, you have an advantage at home. You get to squeeze your matchups out a little bit better versus the team on the road, face-offs, and you've got 20,000 people pushing for you. So if you are going to give me a game, I'd rather play a game at home than on the road. We're going to need it, and now let's use it to our advantage. There's the support. There's the belief. We've seen you perform this before. We've seen you do this before. We know you're capable of it, and I believe in you, and I support you, and will do whatever I can to help you. And if the Lightning dope, when questioned about that by Coach John Cooper, shame on us. Pretty accurate. Rather pointed, fairly blunt, but not abrasive, not overly critical. A pretty brief but fairly accurate assessment. Last game wasn't good enough. Tonight will have to be better. And it will be for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I do have a whole bunch of numbers and a whole bunch of statistics on what to expect from game number 7 in terms of the history of the Capitals and the Tampa Bay Lightning in game number 7. We'll dive into a little bit of that. But there's a few other things that I expect to see in game 7 that faces off just after 8 p.m. We'll dive into a little bit of that. There's a bunch of other news around the league as well, with the New York Rangers getting a new coach, the New York Islanders, as we touched on just a couple of days ago, the news was officially breaking, or was breaking, and it became official yesterday that Lou Lamoriello has left the Maple Leafs and gone to be the president of hockey operations for the New York Islanders. That, of course, has caused a flurry of angst in Maple Leaf land as well. A few other things to get into. Lots to talk about as we get you set for game number 7 on this special pregame edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, at Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. And yes, you can comment directly through on our Facebook page as well, where we are streaming live. This special edition, Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, returns after the break.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we've partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now it's even easier to nominate your dog as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We do it every Saturday. Send us a photo on Twitter or now on Instagram with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We choose a winner every Saturday. That's simple. Now on Instagram or Twitter, send us the photo using the hashtag HU Dog of the Day, and your dog could be the one added to our gallery on the website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing, Nova Product Design, Industrial Design, Mechanical Engineering and Design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies. manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff. The Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes.
Welcome back. It's a special pregame edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. We're getting you set for Game 7. Game 7. Everybody enjoys a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Final. It's the Lightning hosting the Washington Capitals. Puck drop will be a little after 8 p.m. Talked about what is the key to the game, and it's who wants to win, who wants to play, who embraces the moment, who can execute. We have seen both teams do it at different points through this Eastern Conference Final. We have seen both teams do it in previous points of these Stanley Cup playoffs. Who wants to do it? Who wants to do it and make their way into the Stanley Cup Final? I promised that I would go through a number of the statistics, and you can I say get through a little bit of stuff and understand maybe that there might be a little something that you can gain from it, but so much of it is out of context. Whether the circumstances are different players, different matchups, but we'll go through some of the statistics and see if there isn't a little something that we can gather from this, both for the Lightning, for the Washington Capitals, and for Game 7s as a whole. Of the 171 all-time Game 7s in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the team that scores first is 127-44. That's a .743 percentage. So what do we glean from that? Well, yes, you can say that perhaps the team that scores first has an advantage. Of course, you have the lead, you have an advantage. When did that goal come? Did it come early in the game when there was a lot of time to make up that deficit? Or was the scoring restricted until later of the game? You don't get any context from just those raw numbers. Saw it earlier in these playoffs, Toronto Maple Leafs and Boston Bruins series. It was the Leafs that scored about 2 minutes into period one. Well, look, the team that scores first is 127-44. Except it was the Bruins that wound up winning that Game 7 and that series. So again, it's the context, it's the circumstances that surround it. Home teams own a 100-71 advantage. That's not quite 600%. It's an advantage, okay, and players and coaches and everyone will tell you, sure, you want to have Game 7 at home. Who doesn't want to feel the support and the love and the noise and exuberance of their home building? Yeah, that makes absolute sense. But what have we seen in the playoffs this season? In these playoffs, the record of the road team is better than the home team. 41-37 is where we currently stand to this point in the Stanley Cup playoffs for 2018. So again, it depends on the context. This is a bit of a different year. We're seeing road teams be more successful. 41 Game 7s have required overtime. That's nearly 25%. Home teams have a 21-20 edge. Is there anything that we can get from that? Is there really anything that you can draw from that? You have an even series that has gone to a Game 7, and Game 7 goes to overtime. You know, is it a spin of the wheel? Is it a coin flip? Use whichever cliche analogy you like at that point. There's nothing that you get from that. Statistics in terms of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Bolts have a 5-2 record in Game 7s, including a 3-0 mark on home ice. They will contest Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Final for the third time in the past 4 years. They defeated the Rangers in 2015. They lost to the Penguins in 2016. So it's 50-50 in recent years for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't know how much you get from that. Is there a home ice advantage? Sure. Oh, but Tampa lost the first 2 games at home. I guess you maybe call that a saw-off at this point, don't you? This is the 33rd time in NHL history. Oh, again, yes, the NHL Network loves to use that phrase wherever possible. Game 7 will be required to determine a Stanley Cup finalist. The home team owns a 21-11 edge in the previous 32 contests. Again, there's the home team advantage, but we are in the bizarro universe this year where road teams have a better record than home teams. Capitals have a 4-1 record in Game 7s. That's not very good. Washington will play its 11th Game 7 since the beginning of the 2008 Stanley Cup playoffs, the most among teams in that span. So who has the advantage there of more experience? The Caps for playing more Game 7s, or the Tampa Bay Lightning for playing them a little more recently? And as mentioned, there's so much focus on the Caps' 4-11 record. It's 1-3 on the road. They have 1 road win coming in the 2012 Eastern Conference quarterfinal against the Boston Bruins. However, the Caps have proven repeatedly this season is different. This season is different, and we have seen it not just from the Capitals, but throughout these Stanley Cup playoffs. This season is different. See Vegas Golden Knights as example number 1. But also, again, see road record versus home record. Road teams are 41-37 in the postseason. Who would have predicted that? No one would have predicted that. Now, the Washington Capitals lost both games at home to start their series against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Then won 4 straight to move on to round number 2. And then had themselves a matchup with the Pittsburgh Penguins, the same team that has eliminated them the last couple of seasons. But this year was different. Washington eliminated the Pittsburgh Penguins from playoff contention, and they were the ones to move on to the Eastern Conference Final. And the winning game was on the road. This year is different. It's not just about statistics. It's not just about numbers. This year is different between these two teams and in these playoffs. It's unusual, and that's why I don't think the statistics matter as much as who wants to win. Who wants this game more? Which team is willing to embrace the spotlight, to embrace the importance of a game number 7, and understand what has gotten you to this point in your NHL season? We didn't see that from the Tampa Bay Lightning in game number 6. Sure, you can say going in, as I did and many others did, that if we can eliminate the team in game number 6, you take away the opportunity for what can be a toss-up kind of game number 7. But regardless of how you rationalize that in your head going forward, thinking, yes, if we do this, we've got to be on top of our game. We have to be ready. We have to be the ones to take the play to them. We want to win this in game number 6. We don't want to go back home. Even though it'll be in front of our home crowd, we don't want to go back home for a game number 7. You're not the team that is facing elimination. It's impossible to exactly duplicate that level of intensity. If the other team has their season potentially ending that night, they will reach a certain level of desperation. If you were the one that, hey, we'd really like to win, it would be in our best interest to win, we'll get more time off, and we won't have to play another game, you are unable to reach that same level of desperation. So what we saw was greater desperation by the Washington Capitals in game number 6. I expect a much more even matchup of the two levels of desperation in game number 7. That's set to go a little bit later on this evening. But it's about confidence. It's about determination. The will to win, and also, as well as embrace the moment, be able to manage the moment. using that excitement, that thrill of playing in a Game 7 in your home building in front of an enormous home crowd that will be cheering and loud and supportive, embracing all that energy, but also managing it. How to process it properly, not to get too far up in the level of excitement. We've seen it before in games where one team is a little more jacked up than another. There's a little bit of nervousness that seems visible. It's not so much nervousness as excitement. I don't think players are nervous. I think they're excited. I think that's a mistake. And who can use that excitement? Who can use that level of energy and channel it in the right direction while remaining smart, structured, disciplined? Oftentimes we'll hear descriptions of players who play on the edge, to use another cliche, who maybe went a little over the edge and went a little crossed the line by a little bit. That's what you're kind of managing here. It's an energy, it's an excitement, an enthusiasm for what potentially lies ahead and the opportunity to play for the Stanley Cup. And it's how you manage that energy. It's trust in your teammates. It's an understanding of what your structure is, to be disciplined, to make the right choices, to make the smart choices. We've talked about this in the games that the Tampa Bay Lightning have won. Not turning the puck over at inopportune times, like especially your blue line or your opponent's blue line. Not necessarily going for the home run pass. Not trying to make a cute or stylish little play that puts the puck into the middle of the ice and creates the potential for disaster. It's making the smart choices, the right decisions, making the simple plays that will benefit you in the long run. And even if something does go against you, especially in the early going of this game, if the first goal does happen to go against you, it's maintaining your composure. It's understanding that the job still has a long way until it's completed. If you get down by a goal, so you get down by a goal. That's not a reason to lose your focus and lose your composure. It's a chance to refocus and show your determination that you won't be defeated. And that's what's going to be the key for the Lightning in this game. It wasn't present as much as it was for the Capitals in Game 6. I believe it will be in game number 7. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, few more statistics, few more numbers. We will go through the expected lineups for the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals before our hour is wrapped up. There's a couple of other things around the league that I want to touch on as well, some news and some, Toronto Maple Leaf media hysteria and much more. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. We're back with much more coming up after the break.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we've partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now it's even easier to nominate your dog as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We do it every Saturday. Send us a photo on Twitter or now on Instagram with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We choose a winner every Saturday. That's simple. Now on Instagram or Twitter, send us the photo using the hashtag HU Dog of the Day, and your dog could be the one added to our gallery on the website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing, Nova Product Design. Industrial design, mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies, manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit NovaProductDesign.com to learn more. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff. The Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes.
This special pregame edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis continues down to the bottom of the hour, getting you set for game number 7. Yes, game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final. It's the Caps taking on Tampa Bay. Puck drop will be shortly after 8 p.m. There will be excitement and enthusiasm in the building, and it's who can embrace it and channel it in the direction of structure and discipline and trust in teammates and system. That will be the key to winning game number 7. Sure, we'll go through a couple of more statistics, and we'll go through the expected lineups, but there's really not any secrets for either of these teams at this point, is there? After 6 games, back and forth, both teams have won at home, both teams have won on the road. There's not really many secrets left. There's just going to be a couple of keys, and we'll go through what to expect in game number 7 a little bit later on as well. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. You can comment through us on our Facebook page as well. A couple of other NHL news items that I wanted to touch on as well. Dave Quinn has officially been hired as the new head coach of the New York Rangers. The announcement came a little bit earlier today. This, of course, seemed to be tracking for quite some time. It's now official. And if he can have the same kind of success with the Rangers that Dave Haxtell has had with the Flyers when he made the leap from college coaching up to the NHL level, I think it's going to serve everyone pretty well. Quinn's at Boston University for the last 5 years, 105, 68, 21 record. He's got a little bit of American Hockey League head coaching experience, served as an assistant for the Colorado Avalanche for a season. Perhaps most important, though, this is what the Rangers talked about they were looking for. Strong on player development. That's their need. Transformation of that roster has been significant over the last couple of months. They got lots of picks, they got lots of prospects, and undoubtedly there will be more changes coming up ahead as we get set for the NHL entry draft in about a month's time. Going to be interesting to see what kind of roster they have coming up at training camp. Now, we mentioned this just near the end of our pregame show, just ahead of game number 6. The news was just coming out that Lou Lamoriello was going to be in charge of hockey operations for the Islanders. It's a done deal. The announcement became official yesterday. Our friend Arthur Staple at The Athletic had the story a couple of days ago. This is pretty cool. It's a great move for the New York Islanders. I mean, this is the kind of team that needs the no-nonsense, straightforward, and straightening out, quite frankly, that the Toronto Maple Leafs did when he went there 3 years ago. It's the perfect hire. And you know what else? He's not going to be the reason necessarily that John Tavares signs or re-signs with the New York Islanders, but their chances sure went up a whole lot. There's a great track record. It's a team that has been in disarray, kind of blowing in the wind for years. You want system, you want structure, you are going to get it. There is going to be a plan to move forward. And everyone that questioned John Tavares and waiting to sign, he's using all of this time to gather information. And you know what? That is right along the same path as Lou Lamoriello. If you got time, why not use it, is one of his most famous phrases. Now, of course, with Lou Lamoriello's departure from the Maple Leafs as an advisor, there is more news out of Maple Leaf land that they agreed to part ways with Mark Hunter. He is sitting on the sidelines until mid-July when he can look at his next opportunities. He had a year remaining on his contract. And here's the thing I keep hearing about the Maple Leafs from so many so-called experts or analysts that believe they have an inside track. Why would Brendan Shanahan do this now? If Lou wanted to stay, why wouldn't you keep him? It's only for another year. Why would you name Kyle Dubas or Mark Hunter the general manager now? And now you've lost both of them. We have everyone inside. Let them keep doing what they're doing. No, it's the wrong move. And Brendan Shanahan began to explain it in simplistic terms for people to understand on Tuesday. The Toronto Maple Leafs had come as far as they were going to go in their previous setup. My words, not Shanahan's. This was as far as they were going to get. Lewis, general manager, Hunter and Dubas as assistants, they were not going to be able to climb the remaining steps and become what Brendan Shanahan's plan calls for. And that is to be perennial Stanley Cup contenders. And that's part of what hasn't been absorbed yet by the so-called experts in the media or by a number of fans. Kyle Dubas had 3 years at Lou's side to learn. And he did. And why would you question anything that Brendan Shanahan has done to this point? He's been there for 4 years, and everything he has touched has turned to gold. Why would you change and decide now is the time to question? You're right. Lou Lamoriello left. Mark Hunter left. And when you have good people, there are times when they are going to leave your organization. Shanahan knew that this was the deal that Lamoriello had. He was to be GM for 3 years. He honored it. He stuck to his word, and also at the end of it said, it's time to change. If we're going to step forward, we have to do something different. The only way you get better is to take risks. Shanahan had already envisioned the possibility that one or both of Lou Lamoriello and Mark Hunter might leave after the decision to elevate Kyle Dubas to general manager was made. He had already thought of that. Many of the so-called experts hadn't. He understood that was a possibility and was prepared to accept it. And even understanding that, he made the choice to move Kyle Dubas into the general manager's office. So if he's that comfortable with it, if he's that confident in it, why would you question it at this point? Well, because that's what people in Toronto do. It's like everything is a problem. Everything is a controversy. Everything is an issue. From the decision to move Kyle Dubas up, and the Toronto Star reporter, we'll call him reporter because that's only, I guess, what his title is, Dave Feschuk, who wrote, Kyle Dubas, the biggest impending challenge is managing Babcock. It's expected Shanahan will soon enough find himself mediating disputes between the newly installed GM and the 55-year-old coach. Though born decades apart, the GM and coach share in common an ageless self-assurance and occasionally disparate views of the definition of a good hockey lineup, said one NHL source. Imagining the outcome of the interplay, Babcock is going to run roughshod over Dubas. You know what? Phil Kessel was right when he described Dave Feschuk a couple of years ago. He's an ass. Manufacture a controversy. That's what's created here. It's like, gee, we've had this guy. He's been learning from some really smart people for a number of years. He's proven himself. By the way, how well are the Toronto Marlies, the American Hockey League team that Kyle Dubas has been the general manager for the last 3 years, doing? Oh, perhaps on their way to a Calder Cup. That's pretty good. Oh, how well did the Sioux Greyhounds do when Kyle Dubas was the general manager there? Oh, pretty good. Think things will be okay. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. So that's just some of the other news that's going on. Looks like Evander Kane also is going to re-sign with the San Jose Sharks. That's the word coming out now. Looks like he was a nice addition for the Sharks. Looks like he's fit in. 7 years for at $7 million per is the ticket. If he performs at the level he has, nobody's going to have any issues, but he seems to have left the Samsonite baggage that he had carried with him behind in Buffalo, which is good. He's a big personality, but the Sharks have a lot of big personalities, and I think that's okay. I think he will accept a portion of the spotlight. He doesn't have to have it, because if he tries to take too much of it, the rest of those in San Jose will be sure to snap him back to reality. And Paul Fenton has also signed on to be the new general manager of the Minnesota Wild. Interesting hire. He's been the guy who's interviewed for just about every general manager job over the last year or two, and gets this one. He is saying the right things, that it's not a rebuild. There's some moves that need to be made to get the Minnesota Wild to the next step. That's true. Now, you're a bit of, you're in a bit of handcuffs with what you've got, because you got a couple of players who have no move and lots of term and lots of money left on their deals. Suter, Parise, Koivu's another one who's got a couple of years left. But he isn't going to be afraid to make bold moves. All right. I think it's going to be interesting to see which bold moves can be made and elevate the play of the Minnesota Wild. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, Twitter and Instagram handles. One more segment to go. Final thoughts on the Game 7 between the Washington Capitals and Tampa Bay Lightning. Winner goes to the Stanley Cup Final. I got a few things that I expect to see in the game. Maybe they're the same as yours. Maybe they're not. If you want to weigh in on social media, at Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, comment through our Facebook page as well. Our final segment, Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, back with more after the break.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we've partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now it's even easier to nominate your dog as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We do it every Saturday. Send us a photo on Twitter or now on Instagram with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We choose a winner every Saturday. That's simple. Now on Instagram or Twitter, send us the photo using the hashtag HU Dog of the Day, and your dog could be the one added to our gallery on the website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing. Nova Product Design. Industrial design. Mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies, manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff. The Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes.
Final segment of this special pregame edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. We're set for game number 7 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals. We've gone through a whole bunch of statistics and historical references of what might happen. Put it all aside. Put most of it all aside. I'm not really putting a lot of stock into it, especially in this year, which has been so upside down in terms of statistics. Look at the road record, just as enough of evidence. Look at the Vegas Golden Knights, what they've done. This is a bit of an upside down bizarro year. So what will we see tonight? It's the expected question. It's the predictable answer. Desperation from both teams. Now, I do think that the first 10 minutes of game number 7 is going to be must-see TV. Both teams are going to be flying. I also expect to see chances at both ends of the ice. I think that there is going to be some wide-open hockey right at the start of this game, because I think that both teams will channel some of that energy, and they'll be going. Holtby, Vasilevsky, they're going to be called upon to make great saves. I don't, however, think that what happens in the first 10 minutes is going to necessarily decide the outcome of the game. A lot of people are going to point to that, which team scores first, as being a big indicator. I mentioned a bit earlier, Boston, Toronto, this playoff season. Toronto scored 2 minutes in, didn't win the game. It's probably more important for Tampa to score first. I'll give you that. Not because of the stats of the first goal goes in and they have a better record, but because Tampa was shut out in game number 6. They haven't scored in just about 100 minutes as we get closer to puck drop. So yeah, scoring first is good. If it doesn't happen, though, don't let it get into your head. For Tampa, stay focused, stay on your game. It's discipline, it's structure, it's execution, it's trust in your performance and trust in your talent and your ability, as well as that of your teammates. Some keys to the game apply that we've talked about, well, since game 1. Nothing has changed. Both the Capitals and the Lightning have lethal power plays. If you can use them for Tampa, it's to your advantage. Allowing Washington the opportunity to fire shots time and time again on the power play, it's a death sentence. Big guns on both sides have contributed in this series, and the big guns might be the ones that have to load the weapons again this evening. Tampa's had success, though, when they've gotten contributions from their supporting lines as well. Earlier in the series, support staff is important. You can't solely rely on Kucherov, on Stamkos, and you need support and scoring from others. Braden Point, JT Miller, Tyler Johnson, Yanni Gourde. Those guys chipping in goes a long way. The fourth line had a big game a couple of games ago. That's a huge bonus. I'm not looking for offense from them necessarily in game number 7. If you keep the other team in check, the fourth line will have done its job. The two big threats for Washington, Alex Ovechkin is one. His threat, though, has become mostly on the power play in this series. 5-on-5, he hasn't been as dangerous. Don't let the power play out on the ice. Evgeny Kuznetsov has been blistering hot, though, for a while. Special teams, 5-on-5, doesn't matter. He has a 9-game point streak with 6 goals and 8 assists in that stretch. That's important. I thought Braden Holtby was good in game number 6, but I'm not sure he was as good as some people are making him out to be. It was his first shutout of the postseason. He did make some good saves, and I'm not trying to diminish that, but he only had 24 shots on goal. Tampa's best period was the first period. They tailed off after that. 24 shots is not a severe workload. I don't think Vasilevsky played poorly. So I don't think that the goaltending and whether you look at game number 6 is a big impact at all. I don't think either goaltender necessarily steals a game number 7. I think that stealing a game is difficult for a goaltender to begin with. Stealing a game 7 is a near impossible sort of task. As much as anything important for the Tampa Bay Lightning is not to let the Capitals dictate the nature of the game, how it is played. You don't want the Capitals dictating with a physical play the way they did in game number 6. We saw the Capitals engaging in a more physical manner than we had previously in the series. I've heard several times in this postseason, Tampa needs to be more physical. But that often means analysts saying, get out there and throw your weight around, get a hit on somebody. But that's not Tampa's game. They are an elite skill level team. Puck possession, execution. So many analysts say, oh, get out there, get physical, get a hit on someone. They can't see that this is not Tampa's game. They can't see that elite skill level because they aren't capable of it. Tampa's speed, transition, battle for possession is more important. Throwing body checks isn't them. Sure, be aggressive fighting for pucks, getting to the net. If you want to call that being physical, okay, that's a different thing. But it's not the hitting part of the game dictating the flow of the game. Sure, Kunitz, Callahan, Girardi, some others will use the body occasionally, but not running around and throwing hits is the key to success. That's not the cornerstone. That's not the foundation of your team. It's speed, it's transition, it's puck possession. Here's the Tampa Bay Lightning projected lineup. Here's the lines they had at the morning skate. Shuffled them up a bit. Killorn, Stamkos, and Kucherov. Palat, Point, and Johnson. Yanni Gourde, Anthony Cirelli, JT Miller, Kunitz, Paquette, and Callahan on the fourth line. A little shake-up, a little different. Hedman, Girardi, McDonough, Strawman, Braden Coburn, and Mikhail Sergachev. The defense pairing, Andrei Vasilevsky, of course, in goal. Caps lines are the same. Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Wilson. Wilson's been, I want to say quiet because he hasn't been running around. If you get him running around, maybe that's good for Tampa. That can create the power play opportunities that we've talked about. Vrana, Backstrom, and Oshie on the second line, Burakovsky, Eller, and Connolly. Stevenson, Beagle, and Devontae Smith-Pelly make up the fourth line. The defense pairings the same as well. Kempney, Carlson, Orlov and Niskanen, Orpik, and Juice. Oh, and yes, from our friends at Scouting the Refs, here is the officiating lineup. It'll be Wes McCauley and Kelly Sutherland, two of the more senior referees in the National Hockey League. I would expect that those two will be working the Stanley Cup final as well, because you're not going to put two guys into a Game 7 in a conference final unless you're going to have them working in the Stanley Cup final as well. It'll be Derek Amell and Johnny Murray on the lines. With those officials, Tampa Bay Lightning have a record of 6-3. The Washington Capitals have a record of 6-6, according to our friends at Scouting the Refs. And again, it's another statistic. I don't know if you want to put much stock into that. We saw the Lightning stat with Chris Rooney a couple of games ago. I don't think you put much stock into it. It's who embraces the game, who understands that there's energy that you can channel and elevate your game to another level. Call it a level of desperation if you want to, but it is bringing your best game while understanding that the structure, the system, the discipline that have allowed you to achieve the success you've reached so far will propel you to a victory. Not abandoning it, not forgetting about it, but playing within it, taking what's available to you and understanding that your opponent will make mistakes. The big play might look tantalizing for a second, but it can also wind up working against you in very quick order. It's a low percentage play. Take the higher percentage plays, the smarter plays. Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit aggressive for the first 10 minutes or so of the first period. I think there will be chances at both ends. I think both goaltenders will be called upon to make significant saves. If a goal goes in early and it goes in against you, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you abandon what's happened just because you happen to be one goal down. Stay focused. Pay attention to your game. Don't worry about the statistics. This year has been upside down. It has been different. It has been unique. It might be again. And even if you score a goal, don't believe that you are destined to win either. It can work either way. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. The show will be up as our little Saturday podcast in just a little bit. Enjoy game number 7. Looking forward to game 1 of the Stanley Cup final coming up on Monday. Oh, it's going to be fun at Amalie Arena tonight. Enjoy game number 7 with the Lightning and the Capitals.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we've partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now it's even easier to nominate your dog as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We do it every Saturday. Send us a photo on Twitter or now on Instagram with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We choose a winner every Saturday. That's simple. Now on Instagram or Twitter, send us the photo using the hashtag HU Dog of the Day, and your dog could be the one added to our gallery on the website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing. Nova Product Design. Industrial design. Mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies. manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff, the Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes.